Welcome to 0 to 60.
I'm Matt McChesney. I am the owner and operator of 6-0 Football Academy and 6-0 Equipment. Played at the University of Colorado from 2004. 6 years in the National Football League on both sides of football.
I'm Matt McChesney. This is 0 to 60. That is Coach Prime. We are at the University of Colorado. Brother, thank you so much.
All right. 0 to 60. We're rolling.
Welcome to 0 to 60. I'm your host, Matt McChesney. Bailey's on the ones and the twos. We have a lot to talk about today, so let's get going.
Let's get going. It's a great show on this fine Friday, Matt. And this show is brought to you by Melin, M-E-L-I-N, giving you the best and most durable hats built to last 5 times longer than any other hat. They give you the most comfortable fit, and you can feel the difference in the materials they use. They offer small, classic, or XL to fit every size head. So if you're looking for a hat that is as tough as you, check out Melin. That's MELIN.com today and put it to the test yourself. This show is also brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform, your number one source for betting. Whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-time bettor, BetOnline is your ultimate game day companion. BetOnline is you cover with odds, stats, and more for every game, every play, and every win. BetOnline, the game starts here and we roll. Matt, we're in the building on this fine Friday. Lots for us to talk about here. Colorado's got a huge recruiting weekend ahead that we're going to dive in and break down here. But how are you doing on this fine Friday, man?
Not bad. Not bad at all. How are you?
Man, I'm good, man. I'm good. It's a great day to have a great day. And let's get into it here, Matt. We got a lot to talk about here. Massive recruiting weekend ahead for Colorado. They're hosting several 5- and 4-star recruits coming up to Boulder here, including guys we've had on this show, Deacon Schmidt, Brett Coolj, Felix Ojo, who I think is a great player as well. Matt, what do you got to say about this big recruiting weekend ahead? And are you looking forward to having Deacon Schmidt, your guy, and Brett Coolj as well coming to Boulder?
It's big. There's no doubt about it. Having all these guys on campus is huge. They've got car service and all this other bullshit, so it's cool. It's part of it. It's an awesome opportunity for Colorado, so we'll see if they can bag any of them. I don't know how confident I am that they can, but we'll see. Getting Deacon and Breck would be huge, having those two playing next to each other potentially. The other kids, I know that Star set the table, so it's good to see players with high rankings, coming into town. From a recruiting standpoint with high school, I don't think we have a high school player committed. So this is it's a big weekend, and hopefully they can turn some of that around.
Definitely, Matt. And as we look, Colorado recruiting-wise here, Matt, I wanted to go and look at Colorado's first 10 acquisitions in the portal here, Big Matt, and get your thoughts on it here. We've talked about several of these guys here, and we'll talk about Noah King, Kansas State transfer DB out of class of 2025, committing to Colorado in a second. But first 10 transfer portal additions, Matt, are you happy about it, concerned about it, or is Colorado filling the needs? I think they're definitely taking care of some needs as you see some guys exit Boulder and leave. What are your thoughts on the first 10 spring transfer portal additions for CU?
The transfer portal has really been their bread and butter. Yep. They've built their team already through the transfer portal once, so yep. I don't know why they wouldn't do it again. They've lost some good players. They pretty much made a trade with Tennessee. They traded the Hood brothers for a tackle and a safety. So,
well, that
it kind of is what it is. This is the nature of the beast. So they're an attractive school to a lot of players that want to go to the next level. We'll see what happens. From a skill player perspective, I have no doubt that CU can develop you into, what you want to be, but we're still waiting for the offensive and defensive lines to catch up to the skill positions. And, last year I feel like they did a pretty good job on defense. Offense wasn't very good. So we'll see what happens with the new guys they brought in. The Hill kid and Larry Johnson are both, big time players. So I mean, we'll see. The Noah King kid from Kansas State. That's always good to take a player from a rival. So yeah, it's a good list. We'll see how many of them actually pan out.
Definitely, Matt. Definitely. And you mentioned development, and I think the history shows Colorado has no problem with developing skill positions. Colorado, the most receivers drafted in this year's NFL draft. When it comes down to the trenches, Matt, I want to ask a honest question from you. Are you confident in the development of the trenches, specifically the offensive line? Are you confident Andre Gerard, George Hagenbent, and Coach Gunnar White developing some of these new guys coming in, developing Jordan Seaton and others who are already there? Are you confident in that development going into the season?
Yeah. I mean, as long as what we're trying to practice right now is actually what we're going to do.
Right.
And I know that everybody's going to say, well, development's not a thing anymore. Well, then how do you get better?
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
Every kid still has to develop. They still have to go get better. Nobody's a finished product. Even the kids that look like pros they're not yet. So, you might have a pro like frame, but you still have to get a pro development from a mental standpoint. You have to be able to work and, learn how to do things correctly. I don't know. I need to see it. We've been going on 3 years now of, oh man, I hope they run the ball. The offensive line's pretty bad. To now in the third year, we're just assuming it's going to be fixed because they've got new guys and new players. Well, again, you've got to want to run the ball. And I know I know I'm hating, and God forbid we say anything against Coach Prime or anything. And I'm not really saying anything against him. I'm just saying when you have this big of an offensive line, really big offensive linemen are not usually the biggest problem for defensive linemen. Like, 6'7", 350 is huge. But can you move? Can you play 85, 90 snaps? Can you run on screens? Can you really explode in the run game the way you're supposed to? Or would you be better off at 310?
Yeah, definitely.
350 is heavy as shit. So I just want him to run the ball. I think that it will significantly help every aspect of the team. I thought it would have helped Shador in every aspect of his teams. They would have done it, but again, no one wants to hear that. So I'm gonna just whatever everyone else thinks, that's what I think.
No, Matt, I agree with you 100%. I think having a solid run game where Colorado actually leans into it, we see some variation in the run game, something we've talked about for a long time on this show. I think Buffalo fans are definitely yearning for that. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, what you said. I don't think it's hating at all. I don't understand why people would believe that. I think it's a very real thing, especially with Shador and Travis gone. Colorado definitely is going to have a run game. You mentioned the offensive line, the size of it. You got to lean into that and actually lean on the run, invest in it, and make your offense about the run and not just to have it as a backup or something like kind of how it was last year, Matt. But Matt, let's move forward here and discuss a transfer that happened over the last few days here. We talked about it briefly earlier, but Kansas State DB transfer Noah King committed to Colorado, 6'3", 200, long, lanky corner, class of 2025. He will play corner for the Colorado Buffaloes going into the season. Matt, what are your thoughts on this commitment? I think a good get for Colorado in the secondary. What are your thoughts?
And again, anytime you get a chance to steal a player from a rival, that's a good thing. We'll see what kind of player he again develops into here in Boulder, because there's a lot of DBs in that room. A lot of guys are going to play. McKinley's being touted as a first rounder, and Hodge and all these Stoudemire and all these other cats. So we'll see where he fits in there. Obviously, this kid didn't think he was getting what he needed in Manhattan, so he transferred. But, we see young guys do this a lot. There's a lot of kids that have gone in the portal with 2, over 3, 4, 5 years of eligibility left. So I guess not 5 years, but 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
But again, a lot of it's just, let's see how he pans. The Hakeem Williams kid that's also got 4 years left or whatever. Let's see how he pans.
Definitely.
A lot of these kids you got to understand a lot of these kids and a lot of their parents are mental cripples. And I'm not saying all of them are. I'm not saying this kid is. I'm saying a lot of them are. And it makes everything difficult. It makes development difficult. It makes working out difficult. It makes going to class difficult. It makes watching film difficult. It makes being able to criticize them difficult, because that's not something you can do to anybody that plays in Colorado these days. If you criticize them at all, or you say they need to do something different, it's immediately you're a piece of shit. And what do you know? And that's just the way it is, and you fucking know it is. And, you know, the fan base freaks out. So, again, you know, they've got some depth. They're bringing in good players. Let's see how they pan out. And I hope they do things differently here than they did at the places they were at. So we'll see.
Definitely. And you mentioned it, DJ McKinney, man, projected as a first-round draft pick going into next year. I'm really excited to see him lead the way for this Colorado secondary. And you mentioned, you know, I think there was a stat that JB threw out this morning. I think it's like 60% of kids played at 3 or more schools, Matt, the ones that are entering the portal here, which is a pretty crazy stat to if you really think about it here. But, Matt, going back to the secondary and really breaking it down here, DJ McKinney being projected as a first-round pick. You got Noah King coming in that secondary. Preston Hodge, obviously, who we saw last season in the slot. They bring in Illinois State transfer Tion Parks. You got Makari Vickers coming over from Oklahoma. Are you confident and excited about the secondary in Boulder? I seem to be pretty excited, and they're bringing in more guys for depth-wise. What are your thoughts? Go ahead.
Yeah, I think the defense alone is going to be outstanding. The secondary will probably be the strength. If the D-line becomes the strength, I think that we're a playoff-type team.
Yeah.
If the secondary is the strength, I think we're an 8 or 9 win team like we were last year. Assuming the offense can hold up their end of the deal and put us in position to be ahead. And, you know, that's a lot of the battle. This kid's a stud, but he made some bonehead plays last year. So he's got to stop with the celebrating and taunting. I think he had 2 taunting penalties.
Yeah.
That cost him a pick and a touchdown last year, if I remember correctly. But he's a hell of a football player. It makes you wonder if Hood left because of his brother, or maybe he didn't want to compete with this kid. Maybe everybody can realize that there's only one open corner spot in Boulder, and this guy's got the other one, and everyone's trying to jockey for that.
Yeah,
so
you got Hodge in there too. Yeah.
You got nickel. There's a lot of jobs open, but only one real starting corner in Boulder right now, and that's 8. So, you know, they should put a patch on H's jersey for Salessi.
Yeah, I agree with you, Matt, 100%.
Saying, like the whole like jersey thing, like I know that it's dead now, but when I go to the stadium and look up there, and Travis Hunter makes sense, but Shador just doesn't. And I'm sorry, that's just the way it is.
I hear you, Matt. I think Travis definitely deserves to be up there. The Shador one, I think, is definitely questionable. We heard Chad Brown talk about it. I think he has some really, really good comments on it. If you haven't listened to that interview, folks, go back and check that out. Matt and I interviewed Chad Brown about a week and a half ago. Go check that out. But yeah, Matt, I hear your sentiment 100%, especially coming from an alumni like yourself. Definitely hear your sentiment there. Matt, let's move forward. You already brought it up here. This is some huge news. Colton Hood, Colorado transfer DB, freaking stud, commits to Tennessee, played in all 13 games for Colorado last year, 2 picks, 24 tackles. I assume that this will follow with a commitment from Brandon Hood and Trenton Hood, Hood's younger brothers here. But, Matt, what are your thoughts on Colton Hood heading down to Tennessee? Do you think he has the potential to become one of the best cornerbacks in college football with the development under Coach Josh Heupel down there?
Yeah, I mean, if he sticks around, I mean, that's 3 schools in 2 years. So it's this situation with the Hood brothers. Does he want to play at the best? Does Colton want to play at the best school available, or does he want to play with his brother?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's the decision they have to make, and he did. He's a hell of a player. I mean, I have no doubt that he's going to be successful if he gets an opportunity. I don't know what the room looks like down there in Knoxville. But yeah, he's as good as they get. He was awesome for CU last year in spot duty.
Definitely.
So we'll see what it takes. We'll see what it takes down there in Tennessee for him to be as successful as he was here. But yeah, they pretty much just did a trade. They traded the Hood brothers for the safety kid and Big Larry Johnson. So we'll see how the trade works out. But yeah, I mean, the Hood player he's special, man. But I don't know what the deal was with his brother and why we couldn't keep both of them around. I've heard that it's just a scholarship dispute, honestly. Like, was the other Hood not on scholarship or something, and they wouldn't put him on scholarship, and that's what needed to happen, and it didn't happen, and that's that.
Yeah, that's very interesting. We saw Coach Mathis going at Colorado's pastor for saying that the Hood brothers weren't wanted in Colorado. Who knows? It's very speculative with this, but I think Tennessee got a great get in Colton Hood. I don't know. We'll see if Brandon Hood and the other Hood brother follows Colton down there. But, man, I think in Knoxville, which Tennessee is going to be a very interesting team to watch with their quarterback situation. Obviously, they got the App State transfer down there and basically traded him for Nico, so to speak, over at UCLA now. But I think Colton Hood has the potential to become one of the best corners in college football with the development, him playing in the SEC, back in the SEC. He was previously at Auburn for Colorado. But, man, I'm really looking forward to it. Matt, can you speak on some of the, just Tennessee and Knoxville? You got Gage Ginther down there. What is, from an NIL standpoint, I mean, Knoxville is as good as it gets, essentially one of the best in college football. Can you kind of speak to that program down in Knoxville and how they recruit, use NIL, et cetera?
I mean, they do a really good job. They've offered, Gages there, and in the past they've offered a lot of different players out of 6-0. Deacon and Reese and Breck are all offered by Tennessee. Davis Moon, the big freshman, got Syracuse today. He got his first one, so that's pretty cool. Tennessee just does a really good job combing the country. They're not afraid to go, to different places to find talent. It's very alluring when you go down there and there's 110,000, and I mean, Knoxville's fucking nuts. That place is awesome.
It's great. It's great, man. Love it.
And they really care about football, and there's good looking Southern Belles everywhere, and people give a shit, and it's not sensitivity land. They're not that way.
True.
They understand what good football looks like and what it doesn't look like. Last year they had 4 or 5 games where they looked like world beaters, and then they had 4 or 5 games where they looked like dog shit. So, I mean, I'd like to think that Heupel can get them over the top. I'm pulling for them, but again, in the transfer portal era, there's so much evening out, and it's so hard to keep depth. We'll see what happens with everything. I guess my question is, everybody going in the transfer portal, why? But then I'm happy to get them. But then they look at the same reason here, like, why would Hood leave CU and go on a transfer portal to Tennessee? But they're happy to get them. Right. So you just have to weigh the pros and the cons with everything. And I think Tennessee does a pretty good job of recruiting and developing. They don't run their guys out as fast as others do. Gage has been there going on 3 years now, and he's projected to be one of their starters, and that's a high school guy that they brought in. So, yeah, a lot of schools just aren't doing that these days. If you don't show them what they need to see within a year, or it's not on their schedule, you're gone, and that's okay. So we'll see what happens, but you would think that Tennessee, with the amount of talent that they have, if they can figure out what they're doing at quarterback, they're going to be pretty scary.
And I'm boots on the ground here in Knoxville. Matt, like you mentioned, this is a football town here in the South. Volunteer fans love their football. Neyland Stadium is a place like no other when it comes to college football atmosphere. So I think, Colton Hood can definitely look forward to that. I look for Colton Hood to be one of the best corners in college football. This is somebody I was really high on. I thought it was a really huge loss for Colorado, bigger than folks might think. When it comes to Tennessee, I don't know. I think this is going to be a tough year for them, considering them losing their starting quarterback so late, getting a guy from App State who's got to learn the system like that, and it's already he's joined in April. It's now May here. I've had this take for a while. I think Vanderbilt, and they get their quarterback back in Diego Pavia. I'm big on Vanderbilt. I think Vanderbilt actually wins more games than Tennessee. That's just a state of Tennessee debate here. But nonetheless, great get for Tennessee. And shout out to Colton Hood for finding a home there down here in Knoxville. Matt, let's move forward. I got to talk about another transfer portal departure out of Colorado here. Somebody I think you're pretty high on. Trevor Woods. Trevor Woods, Colorado transfer safety / linebacker, has committed to Jacksonville State University. Trevor Woods has been with Colorado since before the Coach Prime days. And, this past season, he decided to enter the transfer portal, decided to redshirt after 4 games. But, Matt, Trevor Woods finds a home to, Jacksonville State. What are your thoughts here?
Good for the kid. I mean, he's a guy that helped us win games here and, was repped out. There was better players in front of him, and he knew it. This is probably a good fit for him. I don't know how much eligibility he has left, maybe 2 years. But, yeah, it's good to see X-Buffs going and playing well, so good for him.
Definitely. And, Matt, speak to his background a little bit. Kid comes from the state of Texas. He's been in Colorado for a long time, was there before the Prime era. Like you mentioned, I think better players were brought in. He was definitely outplayed. One thing I want to show on Trevor Woods, Coach Prime talked about how Trevor Woods is a pro. Take a listen to this.
You're going to go pro, man. Understand that. I believe in you. We believe in you. You're a pro. I don't know which way, or if it's linebacker, special teams, what is it, but you're going to go pro. I can't think of nothing you do wrong. Is there anything he does wrong? He hustles. Great attitude. Great teammate. Came in here with the OBs. Maintained himself. Never complained, right? That's what he's supposed to do. He is always where he's supposed to be.
He was that for Colorado. Matt, your thoughts on Prime's comments there? This is something we've discussed in the past, but now with Trevor Woods finding a new home at Jacksonville State, what are your thoughts on those comments now that we hear him again?
You're not wrong. I wonder why he didn't get an opportunity to be more effective for us if all those things are true. But Bentley and, Green and all those guys were in front of him, and they were killing people. So
that's true.
Coach Prime will even put you on deck if he's not going to keep you. I'm sure that when Coach was called and asked about Trevor, he was pretty adamant in how he feels about him to them, and that's probably what helped him find an opportunity. So, I don't know if Woods is a pro and a draftable player. I mean, he might get into camp. We'll see how he plays, but that's, again, not trying to disagree with Colorado Buffalo fans anymore. So whatever you guys think, that's what I think.
No, I hear you. I think definitely, like you mentioned, having Bentley, Hill, Green ahead of him, I think he was just not the better player here, but he finds a home for Jacksonville State here. Nonetheless, shout out to Trevor Woods. Matt, let's move forward. We got a lot to discuss here. I don't know if you saw this. Donald Trump was at University of Alabama's graduation, and he gave a speech here. Nick Saban actually had the opportunity to introduce Donald Trump with a great story here. Take a listen, Matt.
President Trump, I have to tell you a story. You all know that we win a national championship, we get to go to the White House, and it's a great experience for our players and each and every year. When we won in 2017, President Trump was there in 2018, very gracious host, and he's the first president that invited us to come in the Oval Office. So I take the 3 captains in the Oval Office, and the president's really nice to everybody, and he's got this very big, good-looking, auspicious box on his desk that has a red button on top. And one of the players said, "Is that what you launch the missiles with?" And he said, "Well, push it and find out." Player said, "No, I don't want to do that." He said, "Oh, go ahead, push it, see what happens, find out." So Rashawn Evans finally got the guts up, went over, pushed the red button. Some lady came in with a Coke on a tray.
Oh, Matt, funny story there from Nick Saban about Donald Trump. Another clip I wanted to show here is Trump cracking a joke about Harvard here, Matt. Take a listen.
Graduates of the Alabama class of 2025 standing here before you in this magnificent arena, it is clear to see the next chapter of the American story will not be written by the Harvard Crimson. It will be written by you, the Crimson Tide. True. That's true. That's true.
Matt, any comment there?
No, that's cool, I guess. Good for Donald. Man, I don't know what you want me to say. I'm not a political analyst.
Oh, yeah. Well, there you have it, folks. I thought it was a good gem to show. Well, folks, let's take a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to discuss Warren Moon giving some advice to Shador Sanders, after he fell in the draft here, and giving his advice on how to respond from that. He talks about that with Kay Adams. We're going to discuss that. We're going to discuss Iowa football staff getting in trouble for gambling on Iowa's women's basketball here. This is a crazy story, Matt, that we got to break down and discuss that just came out here. We're going to discuss that and so much more. If you're watching, hit that like button, subscribe, and become a member. We're also going to discuss Cormani McClain reportedly being a starting corner for the Gators this season. Interesting story there. Folks, we'll be back in 2 minutes. Peace.
Whether it's offensive linemen as they work combos and double teams and also pass, pro, and punch, I think the unique physicality of this is outstanding. So much so that you can use it for your shield on punt team or as you rush in the shield. There's so many different ways that we're using it. We get better a little bit every single day, and I just wanted to say thank you because I hadn't ever thought of this, and when I saw it, it made total sense, and we're doing a great job with it. So thank you, man. Go Big Red. What this has done for us is it's allowed us to, because of the surface area, because of its firm nature, I can still strike against another player and have to use that punch just like you do on a sled. At the same time, have to time my punch because it could move. I can teach defensive linemen how to handle double teams because they can feel pressure. We can simulate contact in a safe environment in non-contact times because of this unique bag.
Welcome down here to the Lab 60 Football Academy, 60 Strength and Fitness. I am your owner and operator, Matt McChesney. I just wanted to let everybody know that 60 is now on Cameo. You can go on Cameo and request any tips for training, any offensive line, defensive line tips, recruiting tips. I get so many inquiries in my inbox on a daily basis about tips and can you look at my film and can you do this? Can you break down something for me? I'd love to. All right? It's like the Joker said, my man, right here. If you're good at something, never do it for free. So Cameo is now your bridge to 60 Football Academy. Go in, request what you want, tips, suggestions, recruiting, film, and we will make sure that you get the absolute best from the best. So check out 60 on Cameo at 60 Academy. Cameo, 60 Academy. Cameo, 60 Academy.
And we're back in the building, Matt. My favorite thing, one of my favorite things is we got a Matt Rule on the commercial here for our Colorado show. I always think that's a nice touch. Any thoughts there, Matt? We talked about that before.
You gotta have somebody to help you push your stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Shout out to Coach Rule there. Matt, let's move forward here. We got a lot to discuss before we get out of here. Warren Moon gave some advice to Shador Sanders after he was drafted in the 5th round by the Browns and how he should respond to that. He was talking with Kay Adams. Take a listen here, Matt.
Talk about the past and what happened, but if you were to be able to talk to Shador, I don't know if you have, what would you tell him as he tries to win this job?
I think I would tell him you understand the things that you might have done wrong or did right throughout the process, the pre-draft process. But now you're drafted, you're in an organization, you've got a chance to go in there and make a name for yourself. And it's how you go about doing it, it's how you attack it. There's nobody there that's solidified in that job at quarterback right now. Joe Flacco's in his 40s. We don't know what he has. Dylan, the kid from Oregon, he's a rookie.
Gabriel, Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah, none of those guys have done anything in this league so far. So I think the job is wide open for Shador. All he has to do is go in there, put his head down to the grindstone, and go after it, and be the player that he's been the last few stops he's been at. So.
Definitely, man. I agree with that last part there, especially. But what are your thoughts on Warren Moon's advice for Shador? I think it's 100% true. I think Shador needs to buckle down, put his head down, go to work here. And that Browns job is wide open. They got Joe Flacco, small hands, Kenny Pickett, and Dylan Gabriel as well. But what are your thoughts on Warren Moon's advice for Shador?
I think he's right. I think Shador can win that job in Cleveland. Obviously, the fans have started gravitating towards him, and
definitely.
It doesn't even seem like Dylan Gabriel was drafted, so we'll see how that competition plays out.
Yeah.
I think Shador's a better player than everybody they have on the roster.
Mm-hmm.
He's tough as fuck. He's smart. He cares. He's resurrected a couple of, really bad college programs with his play and leadership. I think he needs to really learn how to study on his own. And instead of, leaning on everyone around him, that's something that you figure out how to do as a pro when you get there. Things just change from a schematic standpoint, from an expectation standpoint. He's got to learn how to play under center and, buy into the philosophies that they're trying to coach in the NFL, which I'm sure he will. I don't know why he'd have a problem with that. I think that there's the expectation for Shador to play like a first rounder, even though he's a fifth rounder, is a good thing, because he's overdoing it every week, right? Like, we didn't expect to get this out of the fifth round pick, and bam, he shows up and he's your best player. So, everything I say is going to get misconstrued about this anyway, but I think he's a really good player, and I think he should listen to Warren, and I think he could do really good things in Cleveland.
Definitely. And I think there's a big opportunity for Shador, specifically for him to get mentored by Joe Flacco and Kevin Stefanski's system over there in Cleveland. I think if they end up keeping Flacco, which I think Flacco is probably the head man for that job, followed by Kenny Pickett, I think Shador has a great opportunity to learn from somebody who's been there and done that, won a Super Bowl, thrown for a ton of yards, been with several different teams and systems within the NFL. I think there's a great opportunity for Shador to definitely develop, learn, and be coached up, not only by Joe Flacco, but Kevin Stefanski in that system. Any thoughts there?
Look, Stefanski is a hell of a coach, and they're going to run the ball.
Definitely.
So Cleveland that's what they do. So if they can stay healthy and they can run the football, we've seen them make the playoffs with Joe Flacco. So why can't they make the playoffs with Shador? That quarterback division has the potential to be very interesting. Shador has the right to be really, really bitter towards Pittsburgh, which Cleveland and Pittsburgh is a massive rivalry that's been, it's a rivalry for the cities, but it used to be one of those like big time regional rivalries that the NFL would bank on. And it turned into Baltimore-Pittsburgh because, remember, Baltimore is Cleveland. So that's kind of screwed up there a little bit, but Pittsburgh did tout him, and he was slotted to go there, and they didn't pick him, and they picked Will Howard in the 6th, and that's what it is. So any more motivation he needs, there it is. But, you're telling me that you've got a quarterback division that's Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Shador Sanders, potentially, and Will Howard, and I'm sure he'll beat out Mason Rudolph at some point. I think that is pretty good for the AFC North. I think that there's going to be a lot of, good football games, and Shador's just got this quality about him where the game's really never over. I mean, there were some blowout losses his first year, and the BYU game was pretty ugly. But other than that, it seemed like they were in every game, or he was bringing them back from the brink of hell every game.
Yeah.
That is a quality that I don't know if you can coach, and he just possesses that where other guys don't. So I think that's something they haven't had in Cleveland in a really, really long time, if ever. I mean, If they would have had better quarterback play in Cleveland throughout the years, maybe they go to all those Super Bowls because they were in countless AFC title games for years. So
definitely,
we'll see what happens. But I think Shador has a really unique opportunity here to make everybody look pretty stupid.
Oh, definitely. I think it's a great opportunity to respond to some of the heat, all the heat he's been getting from falling in the draft here. Let me make this clear. I don't think Shador is a day one starter at all. I think he's going to go in there and learn from Joe Flacco, definitely Kenny Pickett. People have been there and done that before and learned from Kevin Stefanski and really developing that system. But one of my favorite characteristics about Shador is his toughness. We talk about it all the time, Matt. We talk about it on the live watch parties. And we talk about it all the time where, he gets punched in the mouth and he gets up and he responds. And he doesn't just clam up, so to speak. So I think that's something that definitely fits into the Cleveland Browns culture. We know how much they like to run the ball. It's going to be interesting with their running back system now that Nick Chubb is out of there. But I think they have a great offensive line going into this season, and I think definitely Shador's toughness and that characteristic it fits right into the what Cleveland's trying to do over there. But Matt, we'll see. I think Joe Flacco's the guy in Cleveland right now. Kenny Pickett behind him, they'll battle it out. Whoever doesn't, work out is probably gone because I don't foresee them keeping 4 quarterbacks on the roster. Do you?
No, I mean I don't think that they'll keep. I think they'll keep 3, maybe.
Ooh,
maybe. I wouldn't be surprised. Well, it depends on if they're willing to let Gabriel or Shador get tampered with. Because if you put one of them on the practice squad, somebody's going to pluck them. You would assume somebody will when somebody gets hurt out there, which is going to start happening.
Yep.
I don't see Pickett really making the team. If you have 5 quarterbacks in there, I'd say the 2 men out are Watson and Pickett. And I'd say that after that, it would be Flacco, and then the 2 young guys will battle week in and week out for the backup job, which promotes a ton of competition within the ranks, but you still have your solidified starter. Because I'm sure that Cleveland thought they should have just stayed with Joe last year.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure they got that sentiment for sure.
They were dog shit at quarterback last year again. So I know Jameis went in there and had a couple of good speeches and shit, but it's not like he helped them win any games.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that's the way it's going to go. I don't see a world where either of these guys could be on the practice squad and they stay in Cleveland.
Especially Shador.
That would be
definitely
a steal. Well, even Gabriel.
Really?
So we'll see what happens.
Definitely, Matt. And we'll see what happens. But I think Shador has a lot to respond to. I really love Warren Moon's advice there for Shador. Definitely true. It's how does Shador respond is the narrative we keep talking about, Matt. Let's move forward. I got to talk about a really, really interesting story that just hit the news here regarding Iowa State. 5 current and former Iowa State football staffers placed more than 6,200 bets totaling over $100K on professional and college games, including Cyclones men's and women's basketball, Matt. Not a great look coming out of Iowa State here, Matt. Do you have any thoughts on this, the repercussions of this? Do you think nothing will happen because of this? So far, I don't think the NCAA has done anything about it, but this just came out. Any comment here? Big 12 news.
Man, people love gambling.
Yep.
It makes you wonder. Before gambling was legal, I didn't have a bookie. Like all these people had bookies beforehand. Like, is gambling just rampant everywhere, and just the United States just fucking, tapped into that. In Iowa, is it legal to gamble?
Let me look it up. I'm
assuming it is, but it's illegal to gamble in an institution if you work there.
Yeah.
So, there was a bunch of players from Iowa State that got caught gambling, and there's a D lineman here in Denver that was a 3rd-round draft pick that never played for the Broncos because he got caught gambling. He got suspended.
Yep.
But if you're playing, maybe don't gamble.
Or coaching.
If you're coaching, maybe don't gamble. If you're an administrator, maybe don't gamble. I mean, you're not just gambling with the $50 you put up. You're gambling with your job, apparently.
And your career.
So, I think that this is prototypical for the people up in Ames. It's pretty boring there. There's not a whole lot to do. So maybe gambling with your future is more fun than gambling on the bowl game. I don't know.
Yeah, Matt, I agree with you. And here, I'm gonna go ahead and read a statement here. The NCAA, go ahead. The NCAA has taken disciplinary action against 5 current or former Iowa State football support staff members for combining to make more than 6,200 online bets. Goddamn, it's a lot of bets. Totaling more than 100,000.
Jesus Christ.
6,000. Holy shit. Professional and college games, including men's and women's basketball games involving the Cyclones. The 5 were identified during a state investigation into sports wagering activities in campus athletic facilities from 2021 to 2023. They faced no criminal charges. In a negotiated resolution finalized last week, Jace Heacock, Chase Clark, Michael Dreyer, Kyle Highland, and Mason Williams acknowledged they knowingly violated NCAA sports wagering bylaws and all are subject to a 1-year show clause order through April 24th, 2026.
Damn, they got show cause too, huh?
That's like almost a career. Like it is
a career ender, bro. Yeah. You're done. Like you might as well go get a snow shovel and start a small business.
Yeah.
Like, this is not a good look. And this is obviously it's rampant there too. This just keeps happening. So goddamn, dog. They love to party at Iowa State. They just want to gamble their ass off.
6,200 wagers. Holy shit. That's a lot. Like we you and I sports bet, but like 6,200 wagers. Holy shit.
I might make up that a week. Maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Like
maybe, dog. Like during football season, there's times where I don't even open the app for months. Right. Yeah. So, trying to bet on the NBA is like playing Russian roulette.
Yeah, good luck. I feel that.
So I'll just watch that. I'll just watch that bullshit and be entertained while I fall asleep. But football's where it's at when you want to bet. But again, I thought last year was kind of shady with the bets and the refs and everything else too. So
yeah,
personally, I'm
especially the NFL.
Bad. It was terrible. I'm honestly moving away from it. It's not as fun as it used to be for me because I don't believe the product is fair. So I don't believe the product is actually set up for people to win. I think the product is set up for people to get fucked. So
that's how I feel about the NFL a lot.
Yeah, that's how I feel about
I don't know if you remember the Giants Cowboys. It was like week 5 or something. I think the Giants were 5-point dogs. I bet them +5. They were down, I think 8 or something, or down like 7 or something, and or they're up or down, and the Cowboys kicker goes and kicks, and misses the field goal. Giants cover, or they're down 5. Cowboys kicker misses a field goal. The Giants cover, and I'm like, well, it was Brandon Aubrey who literally I don't think missed a fucking field goal at all, except that one. And I was like, damn, whoever bet Giants +5 like myself.
Well, I just wonder how many of these players, agents, coaches are cheating.
Yeah, especially like with
all
the
like that's not happening. Like anywhere there is sex, drugs, rock and roll, and gambling, there's going to be corruption, period. Mm-hmm. Especially in those like sex, drugs, and gambling and alcohol are recession proof. It doesn't matter how bad things get. People are always going to find money so they can be numb, get drunk, fuck, and gamble. So to act like the mafia or whoever isn't involved with the sports betting, I've seen Ozarks, man. Come on, you can get a casino license pretty easy on that show. So just saying, man, I'm very eager to see down the road, that next 30 for 30 that comes out, like the entire referee crew for the NFL for a 10-year period was taking dives and making calls and like just if you're anyone but a Kansas City fan, you agree with me.
Chiefs Wyndham. Gotta love it, Matt. Trouble and aim, 6,200 wagers. Show clause for those 5 coaches. Tough break there, Matt. We got to talk about something, not kind of a sad news here. John Elway's business partner passes away after falling off a golf cart that John Elway was driving. Matt, what are your comments on this? And based on your experiences in life and then this happening, what are your comments? Go ahead.
Well, this takes me back, and it's not a good memory. by any means. I'm sure everybody will think this is hilarious too, because just the nature of people. Everybody thinks everybody's problems are really funny. But, you know, I had a very similar circumstance where I was actually struck by my best friend, two best friends, going about 60 miles an hour downhill when they were drunk. And it ended my career. It fucked me up real bad, put me in the hospital. Probably would have killed me if I was a regular sized dude. I'm sympathetic to John, but I'm sure that whatever, this guy was sitting on the back and John probably hit the accelerator and he was drunk and fell off the back and hit his head, or maybe he wasn't. I don't know. It'll all come out in the civil trial. I'm sure there's no one to blame here from a perspective of like criminal, you know, shit. Right. I don't think anybody got arrested for DUI or anything, but it's terrible. It's fucking sad. And it takes me back to, you know, the last day I ever played football and the karma that came after that for my best friend who's now in prison for 15 years. And like just everything that happened after that moment has, I don't know, really fucked me up. And it's taken a long time. I don't even know if I've ever gotten over it. I've never really talked about it before because it turns into a joke and I don't think it's funny. So, and I'm not going to sit here and try and prop up the chat anymore, bro. I'm not going to sit here and act like a monkey in front of everybody. So if you don't like the way it is, then you don't have to watch. The golf cart thing that happened to me was catastrophically awful. And this is even worse. This is a man losing his life. And, you know, unfortunately, there's times where, and I'm just going to say this, I wish that day would have taken mine because since then it's been terrible. It's awful. This is a bad way to lose your career. It's embarrassing and, you know, it sucks. But you know, there's a reason for everything, and I hope that his family can find some peace and that John doesn't get sued to high heaven because what is that going to do? Right. I didn't sue my friend. I just moved on with my life. And should I have? Yeah, probably. But did I? No. So I'm not real big on suing my friends. It is what it is, man. This is a bad story, and I feel for everybody involved.
Yeah, bad story, and me too, man. I feel that, and you know, prayers to both their families. An unfortunate situation. Let's end on a more happy note here. Cleveland Guardians star Jose Ramirez hit a walk-off the other day and did the Shador. I don't know if you had a chance to see this, but I love it. The city of Cleveland's embracing Shador, and I'm with this. Do you like it? Are you a fan of this?
Yeah, this is the Indians or the Guardians.
The Guardians now, yes. The Guardians, as they call them.
Yeah, it'd be pretty cool if it was the Indians. I don't know who the Guardians are, but yeah, the entire city's going to embrace this shit. I'm sure that you're going to be seeing it in the Eastern Conference semis and finals from Cleveland if they make it from Donovan Mitchell. So this is now it's Cleveland time. So yeah, I'm cool with it. I mean, obviously he's a phenomenon culturally and a hell of a player. And even the baseball guys are gravitating towards it. So,
yeah,
pretty cool.
Exactly. I'm with it. I love it. I love seeing that. Did you see T-Cal getting cooked on Twitter? I don't know nothing about that situation. I highly doubt Matt does either. Chat,
T-Cal.
I don't know. I guess there's some beef. I don't know. Phil Dukes. I saw a clip of Phil Dukes and him going back and forth. I don't know what the hell it's about. No idea.
Yeah, bro, I'm burned out with all this shit. I'm over it. So I'm not really buying into it anymore. Whatever my opinion is, it is. If you don't like it.
Well, they're going at T-Cal. I don't know what the hell he did. It has nothing to do with you or I or anything. But
well, I'm sure it has something to do with Colorado.
Probably does. Yeah. Well, Matt, this has been a great show on this fine Friday. We talk about all different kinds of topics here. Colorado has a massive recruiting weekend ahead, so we'll be back here Monday to discuss that in depth and break it down here.
We'll have Breck and Deacon on Monday too together.
Yeah, Breck Coolj and Deacon Schmidt, who've been on the show before. You can look forward to that on Monday. I can't wait for that show. talk to them and recap their visit in Boulder this weekend. I can't wait to talk about that. Folks, if you're watching, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, become a member of the Dungeon family today. We appreciate you watching. We'll be back on Monday with Brett Coolidge and Deacon Schmidt. Matt, you got any closing comments before we get out of here on this fine Friday?
No, everybody have a good weekend. See you Monday.
Have a great weekend, folks. We appreciate you watching. Peace.